Good afternoon, everyone. April 17th, 20, still being alive in 2019. I've made some very, very bad decisions in my life, and most of those decisions were based on that I would be dead by now. And I had good reason to expect to be dead by now. But here I am. And now that I haven't died, I get to live with those decisions, which is what this video is sort of going to be about today. Living with your decisions. It's not always easy to make the right decision, especially when you are handed a whole bunch of bad circumstances. So you make the decision that you think is the least harmful decision. And sometimes the least harmful decision ends up being, in the long run, the most harmful decision. People like to paint things in black and white, but there is just so much gray out there. So much gray. And no one seems to consider this gray. It's really going to be more of a ranting video more than anything, probably. But, for the average citizen, born to alcoholic parents, abusive parents, these people, we've lived a lifetime of wanting to be out of this world, to not exist on this planet anymore. And we continue to do so. As things get worse and worse, more and more people are going to make really bad decisions. Only these decisions are going to be life and death. Not like the decisions we all have right now. Should I call in sick to work today? I really feel like fucking off, or buy this car, or this video game, or this TV, quit my job. These all seem like they're really important right now, don't they? What are we going to watch on TV tonight for dinner? Seems like important shit. But sometimes a person is given the opportunity to make a life and death decision. Do I do this? And if I do this, what are the consequences? Can I die? I'll give you an example. Some of my older viewers have probably already heard this, but my newer ones have not. A couple summers ago, it rained a whole bunch, right? And we have this local watering hole. It's a nice, beautiful waterfall. And this little girl gets swept away by the current. And she ends up on this rock that has this swollen river hitting it, and it's the force of the water is pushing her or making her lose her grip on the rock. So I had to decide, do I risk my own life to save that child? It really wasn't a decision in my mind. It was already made before the event even took place. These are the kind of decisions you're going to be faced with as things get worse. You're going to hear people ransacking your neighbor's house or something along those lines, right? Or maybe assaulting your neighbor. And you have to make a decision. Am I going to go out there and risk my own self, my family, to help this individual out? And more to the point, are they worth helping out? You're going to have to make really hard decisions. Decisions that, you're going to have to live with the rest of your life. And if you make the wrong ones, these decisions can cost you your life. So you decide, do I want to live with leaving this individual behind, or allowing him to be attacked by a group of people and not helping? Is that going to haunt me for the rest of my existence? And there's no right and wrong answer, to be honest with you. Some people deserve exactly what they get. They do. There's no denying that. But others are simply victims of circumstance. What about those individuals? Say for the sake of argument, we do get hit by an EMP or maybe even a super volcanic eruption. And it's not so far out of the realms of possibilities that this could happen in our lifetime. I mean, it's been a very, very, very long time since we've had a extinction level type of catastrophe. So, and there's a lot of geopolitical motive, not to mention all-around motive from the ruling class to hide their activities for such an event, an EMP, to occur. There's plenty of reasons for the world to want the United States out of the way. Plenty of reason. Hey, all you got to do is take a look at some of the foreign policy, and you'll see exactly why other nations in this world would want us out of the way. Namely, Russia, China, probably the European Union. I don't think these people are as fond of us as we'd like to believe. I think that probably we're going to be stabbed in the back by most of our allies. I think probably there's going to be a major war on our soil. And I have a lot of good reason to think this. Number one among those is the fact that it hasn't happened in a very, very long time. And these things do occur in cycles. So, back to the decisions. I took the chance of jumping into the current, maybe being swept away, drowning, but it didn't even occur to me that that would even happen to me. It was after the fact that I thought about it. At the time, it did not matter. That little girl needed help, so I helped. But I'm not supposed to have a gun, right? If I have a gun, I can help you. I can save you. Without one, it makes that task all that much harder. And maybe not worth risking my own personal well-being. But the decisions you make will affect you the rest of your life. As I said, I never expected to make it this far, and I had good reason to believe that I would probably be dead by now. The lifestyle I was living, the nature of myself is very destructive, self-destructive. So I had good reason to think I would be dead by now, but I am still alive in spite of my self-destructive ways. And now I have to live with the decisions I've made in the past. I can't get a normal job, just like anybody else. Have you heard of this thing called survivor's guilt? It's a thing. It's a real thing, like Stockholm Syndrome and cognitive dissonance. And it's where a person is so overwhelmed with guilt because they survived some horrific event and everybody else around them died. And it's going to be a lot different than it is now. Right now, you are literally a prisoner. Okay? If you defend yourself in this country right now, especially if you're a white male with a gun, you're almost guaranteed that you're going to be prosecuted. And it doesn't matter what kind of evidence you have on your side. The jury will always go, not always, but as a rule of thumb, go with what the police say happened. Even if video evidence says to the contrary. This has recently happened. A video showing a guy clearly defending himself. He still got convicted. Still got convicted. And so when you defend yourself now, the consequences to you are much, much worse than they would be in, say, an EMP or the aftermath of one of these events. Okay? Right now, you really have to be careful of what you do and who you do it to. Even if they deserve it, even if they try killing you and you can prove it, getting the state involved, you're going to suffer consequences you won't believe. Even if you end up not convicted of a manslaughter or similar charge, it's still you're still arrested for it, and people, all they see is you were arrested for that. Why do you think I have such a hard time finding a job? It's because I have I ain't gonna lie, I'm not saying maybe I don't deserve it. Maybe I don't, because I wasn't hurting anybody, but I did give some weed away to somebody, and I got in trouble for distribution. Isn't that fucked up? And that's all they see, though. They don't care about the fine details, the circumstances. They only care what they see on that paper. If you defend yourself and you're able to escape charges, there's still a red flag by your name if you get pulled over, saying that you're a dangerous person. And shit hit the fan, you don't have these barriers. The only barrier you have is yourself. Right now, it's easy to restrain yourself because you know, man, I might end up going to fucking prison. But if there's no consequences, that barrier that is gone, God only knows what people are going to be doing. I can promise you that it's not going to be good. And to pause for a moment because, you know, rich cultural diversity. Anyway, that restraint that we all have right now, it's going to be gone. The reason they do now is because of the consequences. And some of them are really on the edge. I guess I'm one of them people, because I'll be honest with you, man, it's getting harder and harder to take people's shit. It really is. I mean, people are getting more and more assholish, more and more rude. So yeah, I mean, people are already, the restraint is already beginning to fail. Especially if you are attacking a certain demographic in this country you're probably going to get away with it. So you're going to have to use your own restraint, and you're going to have to judge for yourself what you want to live with and what you don't want. I mean, even now, in a position where our society, the veil of civilization, people end up killing each other. They disregard the concept. And if you're a person who's a felon and you still have weapons, I'm not knocking you for that. It's your right as a human being. You especially have to be careful in a self-defense situation. Luring someone to a place where no one else could see is probably the best thing you could do. You don't want to be going to prison over a stupid gas station argument or something like that. Right? Speaking of prison, when the collapse begins to happen, a lot of people are going to be released from these prisons. This cat named Florida Marquis, he thinks that that's one of the biggest threats post shit hit the fan, or during. And I happen to disagree with that. We have, compared to the overall population, the prison population is small, right? It still sucks that so many people are stuck in these places, but if you're going strictly by numbers, there's so many more people on the outside of prison than inside, right? And some of these people are just as dangerous as some of these guys in prison, if not more dangerous. So don't judge based solely on that one thing. A person who's been free can be just as dangerous as a person who's been locked up. Maybe even more so, because we've been out here with the ability to work with our firearms and get proficient at them, as opposed to the inmate that's constantly locked down and gets very little in the way of training. They might get to lift weights and play basketball and this kind of thing, but that's only going to help them with stamina and strength. So, but we're getting to that point in the economy. We're getting there to where they're going to have no choice but to lay off prison guards and release people. And that's good news for a lot of people, but it's bad news for other people. Like if there's people that are actually victims of those being released, that's bad for them. But if there's an individual that committed what I would say called a victimless crime, which really that's an oxymoron. There can't be a crime without a victim, but like buying a prostitute or smoking some pot or something like that. Those people, they deserve to get let free. The people with victims attached to them, depends on how long they've been there, right? But eventually, the economy is going to get so bad that they're going to have to release some of these prisoners. There's just no money there. I mean, the fucking pension fund for law enforcement and other state workers are being robbed to depletion. That's it. Robbed to depletion. So we have not much more of a wait left for these things to start happening. Yellowstone continues to increase in activity. The demonization of certain demographics in the United States is continuing to happen. Russia and China, among others, want the United States dealt with. So we're not too far off now. And you should really think about how you're going to conduct yourself and post SHTF because there's not going to be any of the restraints any of us have known our whole lives there anymore. I know pretty much what I will do. Like I said in the video the other day, if you seem like a decent person, I'm going to try to talk to you first. But if I get that cringy feeling in my stomach, well, you know. Hope you all have a good night. Probably my only video for the day. Let's see what the news was like today. I did hear something about 3 planes going down, 9 people dead, and apparently some wave of energy hit these aircraft. So I'm waiting to see if it was a something that came from space, or a weapon used. Anyway, have a great day. See you all tomorrow.